All right, people. Last video, we're going to talk about Puck. He is actually probably the most chaotic character in the play, and he's actually kind of a fan favorite. Puck is the trickster. The bottom line is, if there is one character trait that you need to nail on your project, it's that. He gives several examples when he is introducing himself of how he thrives off chaos. He says things like, I'm the person that turns invisible and I trip old ladies as they're walking out of their house and I make them fall flat on their face in front of the public so everybody can laugh at them. He also says, when you're having a drink of tea or your bowl of soup, I'm the person that's going to knock it over and dump your soup all down the front of your shirt. And I'm going to dump your tea and make it burn you and scald you. That's just what Puck is all about. As he goes on throughout the play, the conflict of the play is that Oberon wants Puck to, one, he wants to get Titania with the love potion, and Puck is successful in doing that. She wakes up and basically falls in love with a donkey. The second part of that is that he's supposed to get the love potion on Demetrius. However, he gets the wrong guy. He gets Lysander. So the chaos and the conflict of the play is that Puck got the wrong person. Lysander wakes up and falls in love with Helena. Demetrius is still chasing after Hermia. Eventually, Puck goes back and he gets Demetrius with the love potion, and he falls in love with Helena. So the issue really is that you've got poor Hermia kind of left out in the cold. Lysander and Demetrius both start chasing after Helena instead of Hermia, and that causes all sorts of, as they like to say, shenanigans ensue. So it causes all sorts of drama, and then eventually it gets fixed. Eventually he fixes Lysander, but he does not fix Demetrius. Demetrius basically gets hit with the love potion and tricked into falling in love with Helena, and it stays that way. And all's well that ends well, I suppose. And then eventually, of course, Lysander and Hermia are together, and then Demetrius and Helena. Now, as Puck goes throughout in doing this, he is not really a willing participant. He is at first because he thinks it'll be kind of funny. But as he gets sent on errand after errand after errand, eventually he's like, I just want to go out, and I think all this stuff is funny. He's like, these guys are arguing with each other. They're trying to fight over each other. It's like, this is great. This is what I live for. So he is all about the mischief. He is a servant of Oberon. You can attach that as well. And then you can think of him as kind of the court jester. And then, as I mentioned before, the trickster. He is the one that addresses the audience at the very end of the play. That is actually unusual for Shakespeare. He usually doesn't break the fourth wall, as they like to say, but he does actually have Puck turn to the audience and actually address and speak to the audience. That basically he says, hey, this is all in fun. If we've offended anybody, I apologize. However, we're just here to have a good time and cause a whole lot of trouble. And that we'll make sure that everything kind of works itself out in the end. So those are all things that you can actually attach to Puck. Other pieces of the play that I wanted to hit on, and one of the key components of it, you have a test question about it, and then it's also kind of tied to one of your big essay questions, is why in the world did Shakespeare put a play within a play? And we didn't really talk about them. They're not part of the character analysis, but you've got all these actors, and they're just a bunch of bumbling idiots, and they put together this play that's supposed to be a nice happy play, except it's a tragedy where these two lovers die, kind of like a Romeo and Juliet. So why in the world did Shakespeare do that? The man never did anything without thinking it through. He would toil and slave over words, just individual words, and he would never put anything in without really thinking it through. So the key piece of that, and we'll talk about this in class, of course, and go through the lecture on that, Shakespeare did it to show the absurdity of how things that can happen in daily life are just ridiculous. The way that he talks about love throughout the play is not in kind terms at all. In fact, he's pretty scathing. He compares lovers to insane people. He compares love to maniacs and madmen. And he basically says it has no rhyme or reason, and that it will cause the most sane of people to do the most insane things. And he really kind of goes out of his way to make a mockery of it. So you can think of it kind of as a satire. And the final play is exactly that. He spends the entire fifth act of the play going, and it's the actual play within the play. During Act 5, where you have all of the workers and they're kind of bumbling their way through this play. And then you have the lovers who have just gotten married and they're all watching this and kind of making fun of them. So Shakespeare really kind of did this to emphasize and drive home the point, life is ridiculous. And you have to make the most of what you've got and do absolutely everything that you can with it for the right here and the right now. Because if you really stop to kind of think and analyze the stuff that goes on around you and that goes on in life, then all it's going to do is it's just going to get you upset and it's going to get you depressed. So don't focus on that. Focus on the things that you really care about and focus on the things that actually mean something to you. And then your life will actually end up being happier and better for it. So that wraps up our video series. Hopefully these all help or they serve as some kind of a reminder. This is all material that we've gone over in class, but as I mentioned in the first video, in case your note-taking skills have failed you or you have a few questions or you need to brush up on a few things for clarification, then hopefully these videos have helped you out. And of course, if you have any further questions, please feel free to get a hold of me, talk to me about it in class, and then I'll actually provide you whatever help and assistance that you need. And we'll see you guys in class.